If you're looking for one of the best over-ear business headsets for work, these are a couple of the best worth considering as of today. The new Jabra Evolve3 85 and the Yealink BH78. Up until now, most work headsets have been on-ear, and there's been requests for years of good over-ear headsets, as not everyone wants ear cushions pressing against their ears. After testing both extensively, I found some surprising differences. One has a better microphone, one has stronger active noise cancellation, one is easier to mute, and one costs about half as much as the other. Today we're putting them head to head, and after the microphone comparisons, you can decide which one sounds best to you. Before we get started though, if you're trying to figure out which headset is right for you or your business, contact us here at Headset Advisor. We'll learn about your devices, work environment, and budget to help match you with the right headset the first time. And if you want to order either one of these headsets, for watching this video, feel free to use promo code YouTube at checkout for an additional discount. At first glance, these two headsets are targeting almost the exact same customer. They're both designed for professionals who want one headset for work that can also double as a pair of personal headphones. The biggest visual difference is the microphone. The Yealink BH78 hides a microphone boom inside the ear cup. When you need it for work, simply pull it down. When you're done for the day, tuck it back away, and it almost looks like a normal pair of headphones. Jabra went a completely different direction. Instead of hiding the microphone boom, they fully removed it altogether and more so rely on AI microphone processing to isolate your voice. Personally, I think both headsets look great. The Jabra definitely has a cleaner appearance overall, but I also appreciate having the option to have the hideable mic boom on the BH78 instead of fully removing it. This is probably the biggest difference between these two headsets. Jabra's philosophy was to completely remove the mic boom and rely on AI to separate your voice from the background noise going on around you. Yealink took the opposite approach by keeping the dedicated mic boom, but making it disappear when you don't need it. From all the business headsets I've tested over the years, I've found one thing to be consistently true: a dedicated mic boom almost always produces better mic quality than a headset without one. That doesn't mean the Jabra sounds bad. In fact, it's one of the better Boomless business headsets I've tested, but based on my testing, I still think the BH78 has the advantage. Rather than tell you which one sounds better though, let's hear both microphones compared against each other, and you can decide for yourself.
When sunlight hits raindrops, they act as a prism and form a rainbow. The rainbow splits white light into many colors, shaping a high arch with ends beyond the horizon. When sunlight hits raindrops, they act as a prism and form a rainbow. The rainbow splits white light into many colors, shaping a high arch with ends beyond the horizon.
When sunlight hits raindrops, they act as a prism and form a rainbow.
The rainbow splits white light into many colors, shaping a high arch with ends beyond the horizon. When sunlight hits raindrops, they act as a prism and form a rainbow. The rainbow splits white light into many colors, shaping a high arch with ends beyond the horizon.
When sunlight hits raindrops, they act as a prism and form a rainbow.
The rainbow splits white light into many colors, shaping a high arch with ends beyond the horizon. When sunlight hits raindrops, they act as a prism and form a rainbow. The rainbow splits white light into many colors, shaping a high arch with ends beyond the horizon.
When sunlight hits raindrops, they act as a prism and form a rainbow.
The rainbow splits white light into many colors, shaping a high arch with ends beyond the horizon. When sunlight hits raindrops, they act as a prism and form a rainbow. The rainbow splits white light into many colors, shaping a high arch with ends beyond the horizon.
When sunlight hits raindrops, they act as a prism and form a rainbow.
The rainbow splits white light into many colors, shaping a high arch with ends beyond the horizon. Sunlight hits raindrops, they act as a prism and form a rainbow. The rainbow splits white light into many colors, shaping a high arch with ends beyond the horizon.
Now that you heard the different microphone comparisons, let us know which sounds best to you in the comments. Also, if you already like your current headset but just need better microphone noise cancellation, you may not need to replace it at all. Listen to this mic test for yourself to hear the comparison.
When sunlight hits raindrops, they act as a prism and form a rainbow. The rainbow splits white light into many colors, shaping a high arch with ends beyond the horizon. When sunlight hits raindrops, they act as a prism and form a rainbow. The rainbow splits white light into many colors, shaping a high arch with ends beyond the horizon.
This software like Neep can dramatically improve microphone quality without having to buy a new headset. We'll include a link in the description of this video and you can give it a try for yourself, free for 14 days. If on the other hand, you're looking for features that software can't add, like significantly longer wireless range, a dedicated charging base that lets you adjust settings without downloading additional software, or compatibility with not just your computer and mobile phone, but also to a desk phone, then take a look at the Yealink HA64 Pro, which will also include a link to our full in-depth review video in the description. Comfort is another area where the Evolve385 and BH78 take two different approaches. Jabra uses fabric ear cushions and focuses on making the headset as lightweight as possible, whereas Yealink sticks more with the traditional Leatherette ear cushions that many businesses have been using for years. Neither approach is necessarily better. Some people simply prefer fabric, while others like the feel and seal of Leatherette. Personally, I found both headsets extremely comfortable. If I had to choose one, I'd give a slight edge to the BH78 because I prefer the overall fit on my head. That said, if having one of the lightest over-ear business headsets is important to you, the Evolve385 definitely has an advantage. Now let's talk about active noise cancellation and music quality. Both headsets do a good job reducing low frequency sounds like HVAC systems, office noise, and general background distractions. But after using both, I found the BH78 delivered a more enjoyable active noise canceling experience. The music quality was also a step up on the BH78. Now don't expect either of these headphones to replace Bose or Sony type headphones. These were designed for work first and casual music listening to second. Both sound good enough for music during the workday, but if music quality is important to you, I'd give the edge to the BH78. Let's put both to the test though, and you can be the judge.
Noise canceling. Ambient sound. Off.
ANC. Hear through. Off.
One area that really surprised me was Sidetone. If you're not familiar with Sidetone, it's the ability to hear a little bit of your own voice while you're talking. This helps you speak more naturally without feeling isolated. The BH78 allows you to keep active noise cancellation turned on while still hearing your own voice naturally. The Evolve385 also has Sidetone when you have active noise cancellation on, but it's just not as satisfying as a headset with a mic boom that has good Sidetone. But the Evolve385 certainly beats other Boomless headphones that don't have Sidetone at all. Neither approach is wrong, but I found the Yealink BH78 created a much more natural experience. One feature that I think gets overlooked is simply muting your microphone. With the BH78, you can raise the mic boom to mute your microphone and lower it to unmute. It's quick, intuitive, and something many business headset users have been accustomed to over the years. Because Jabra no longer has a mic boom, muting is now done using the physical mute button only. For some people, that won't matter at all. But if you've ever used flip to mute before, it's surprisingly hard to give up because it becomes second nature. Battery is another area worth mentioning. The BH78 offers longer talk time up to 38 hours versus Jabra's 25 hours and also includes a charging stand right in the box. It's one of those small conveniences that you don't fully appreciate until you've used one every day. Another important factor both brands offer, now due to the EU mandate, is the batteries can be replaced. That means no more throwing out a headset when all that's needed is an inexpensive battery to prolong the life of your headset. With Jabra, the charging stand is sold separately depending on which package you purchase. It's not a deal breaker, but it's another added value that comes included with the BH78. Next, let's see how both headsets perform once we start walking away from the computer.
All right, this is the wireless range test of the Yealink BH78. We are connected to my computer right here on my Windows laptop with the USB dongle, the BT51. Now let's walk to the 10-foot marker. All right, at about 10 feet, this is what it sounds like on the BH78. Now let's go to 30-foot marker. All right, we're at about 30 feet and we're looking to hear if I'm still connected and the audio is clear. Now let's go to the 50-foot marker. All right, 50-foot marker. Let's see if we're still heard clearly. We are at the 50-foot marker. Now let's make our way to the 80-foot marker. All right, we're at about 80 feet right now, and this is what it would sound like on the BH78. Let's still see if we're heard clearly and make our way to the 100-foot marker. All right, so now we're at about 100 feet, and as you can see, right over that way, about 100 feet back, is the laptop connected with the BT51 USB dongle on a Windows computer. And I'm talking here for a second to make sure my voice stays clear. And this is what it would sound like at the 100-foot marker. Okay, this is the range test. I have my laptop right here connected with the Jabra Evolve 390, and I have some different markers set. So this is right at the computer. This is what it would sound like, and what we're looking for is when the voice starts cutting out. So right now we're at 10 feet on the Jabra Evolve3 series. Now let's make our way to the 30-foot marker. And now we are at the 30-foot marker, I'm recording the audio on my laptop, and we are going to see when the microphone starts cutting out. Now we are at the 50-foot marker. This is what it would sound like at the 50-foot marker. I'm not sure if it's cutting out yet, but we will find out. Now let's make our way to the 80-foot marker. This is pretty much in direct line of sight, not very many barriers. We are now at the 80-foot barrier, 80-foot marker. Let's go a little bit further. I'm not sure if it's cut out or not yet. We're in the backyard and I'm at about the 100-foot marker. This is the Evolve3 series at the 100-foot marker. Now we're going to go back and see how it performs.
Now let's talk about price because it's so far apart from each other and has to be noted. The Jabra Evolve 385 costs roughly twice as much as the Yealink BH78. That doesn't automatically make the Jabra headset overpriced. It's still an excellent headset. The real question is whether it offers enough value to justify spending nearly twice the money. For me, that's where the Yealink BH78 becomes very compelling. So which headset should you buy? If your priority is having the cleanest possible design without a mic boom, an extremely lightweight headset, and you simply prefer the Jabra ecosystem, the Evolve 385 is still an excellent choice. But for most people, I think the Yealink BH78 is going to be the better overall value. You get better mic quality, stronger active noise cancellation in my testing, a more natural Sidetone experience, the convenience of flip to mute, longer battery life, a charging stand included in the box, and all of that for half the price. If I were considering both, it would be hard not to favor the Yealink BH78. Not because the Jabra Evolve 385 isn't a great headset, it absolutely is. I just don't think it offers enough value to justify paying roughly twice as much. Hopefully this comparison helped make your decision a little easier. If you still have questions though about which headset is right for your specific situation, feel free to contact us here at Headset Advisor and we'll be happy to help. And that's it for this video. If you found it helpful, give it a like as that helps support our company, and consider subscribing to our YouTube channel for more videos like this in the future.